We're going to do some really nice heart openers and just kind of keep it simple and basic, get a little bit of movement and stretching. So, today I do want to start in a seated meditation position. So, just come to a seat. I like to sit on a block to elevate my hips. It's just a little more comfortable for me, but whatever floats your boat. So once you find your seat, bring your hands to your thighs. You can have them face down or face up. Facing down is a symbol of grounding. Facing up is a symbol of surrender. So whatever you feel like you need today. Sit up really tall, make the chin parallel to the ground. Ground in the sits bones. And begin to notice your breath. Just beginning with the most basic part of our yoga practice, engaging the breath. Notice where you feel it in the body. Notice how when you inhale, you inflate the belly, and when you exhale, deflate the belly. Starting to tap into the nervous system. And I just want you to bring to mind how you would like to feel in this practice and after this practice, physically, emotionally, spiritually. How would you like to feel? And once you have a word or a phrase about how you want to feel physically, emotionally, spiritually during class and after class, just repeat it a few times on your breath and try not to have judgment of whatever word came up. And let's take 2 more deep breaths. Inhale, exhale, in and out of the nose if possible. Inhale, exhale. And you can blink the eyes open. Let's remove any props that you're sitting on. If you have blocks, just place them at the top of your mat. And let's come to our cat-cow. So find whatever position you like for this. If you like it to be pretty square with the wrists under the shoulders, you can do that. Or you can even walk the hands out a little bit farther. And take some cat-cows, so just inhaling, looking forward, dropping the belly but engaging the core, and exhaling, rocking a little bit back, looking towards the belly button. Just take a little back and forth here, maybe close your eyes, just taking that breath and linking it with some simple movement. Couple more like this. And once you finish off your last round, come back to your center, and we will be doing some heart openers today. So let's start with walking out the hands really far out, like you're in a downward dog, but knees stay on the ground. So we're in a puppy pose. In this position, you do want to keep your abdominals engaged to keep the spine having some integrity, but allow the chest to drop forward. And breathe deeply. If your forehead does not comfortably rest on the floor, that's okay. You can also take some kind of prop and place it under the forehead. Stay here for about 5 more breaths. I'll count, so don't worry about that. Last breath, inhale through the nose. Exhale. And let's walk the hands all the way back up to center. Lift up the right fingertips, look up towards the sky, and then dive that right hand underneath the left arm. Set the right shoulder down, set the right ear down. You're in a little bit of a twist and a shoulder opener, opening up the back of the heart space on the right side. So you can keep your left hand bent at like a 90-degree angle with your hand planted, or you can reach your left hand towards the front of your space, and that might change the stretch a little bit for you. You can play around. Just notice if your hips are knocking over to the left, try to keep them centered so the weight is distributed evenly between both knees. And this is a mild twist, so send all that breath to the belly. And let's unwind that all the way back into your initial tabletop twist. And then set the right hand down and let's take it on the other side. Lift the left fingertips up to the sky and dive that hand underneath the right. Set the left shoulder down, left ear down, and play around on this side, finding your comfortable position. Taking those deep belly breaths. Last breath here. When you're ready, you can unwind yourself, reach those left fingertips back up to the sky, and then set the hands down back into your tabletop position. Let's tuck the toes, press the hips back into your first downward dog. Definitely feel free to keep the knees bent here or pedal them out. Keeping the focus on, or the priority I should say, on length in the spine, which means that it allows for us to have a fuller breath. Beautiful. Let's take one more breath here in a still down dog. Knees can be bent. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Lift up the right toes to the sky and then bend in the right knee. Step the right foot between the hands and drop the left knee to the floor. You're coming into a lunge. If you have blocks, you can feel free to grab those. I like to place them around my right foot. It allows me to open up the chest. So I'm looking forward. And then you can take your hands off the floor or blocks. Interlace the hands behind the back. Look up towards the sky. Really keep those abdominals engaged to keep the back from crunching. Drop the shoulders back. And release those hands, bring them up and overhead. Take your right hand, bring it to your right hip, and just reach your left fingertips over to the right for a side stretch. Notice if the neck is crunching, try to keep some space there. And come back to your center. Move your blocks out of the way. Tuck the left toes, step the right foot back, downward facing dog. Pedal it out. Inhale. Inhale. Last one, inhale. And let's lift up the left toes. Point that leg straight out behind you. Bend into the knee. Step the foot between the hands. Drop the right knee to the ground. You can always pad your back knee if that's more comfortable for you. You can hold onto your blocks. Open the heart up towards the front. Sink into the hips. Lift up the hands, interlace the fingers behind you, but try to switch your fingers so the other thumb is on top. If it's hard for you to interlace the hands here, you can also just hold on to the elbows or even hold on to some kind of cloth or strap behind you like this. We're looking up towards the ceiling. Inhale. Exhale. Release the hands. Bring the arms up and overhead. Inhale. Exhale. Take the left hand to the hip. Bring the right arm over towards the left for a side stretch. And come back to your center. Move the blocks out of the way. Plant the hands. Step the left foot back to your downward facing dog. Inhale and exhale. Let's walk the hands back to the feet. So we're going to be standing in a forward fold, the back of the mat. Rock a little side to side, kind of walking the hands to the left and the right. And then find your center and just roll up really slowly. The curved spine, shoulders, and then head come very last. Good. Inhale the arms overhead. Look up towards the sky. Open up your hands, your arms into a cactus shape. And take a little back bend. So look up towards the ceiling. Tailbone is pointing towards the floor. Come back up to center. Take the right hand to the right hip. Stretch the left fingertips over to the right. Switch sides. Right fingertips stretch over to the left. Back to center. Inhale both arms overhead. Pick up the left toes and let's just fall forward into a high lunge position. You can take a couple steps if that was a little aggressive. And you can also drop the right knee if you want to do that. Take the hands, interlace them behind the back. Engage abdominals, sink lower, look up, open the heart. And then take the left hand to the left hip. Reach the right fingertips over to the left. Both arms come up and overhead. One breath in this crescent lunge. And then bring the arms all the way down. Step the left foot back. You can take an optional chaturanga here from the knees or from plank. Lower down to the belly. Press into the hands, back bend for cobra. And press yourself up and back into downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Inhale. Let's walk the hands all the way back to the feet. You're in a forward fold. Take your little rock side to side. Roll yourself all the way up to standing. Inhale, arms up and overhead. Exhale, bring them to your goal post or cactus shape. Look up towards the sky, open the heart. Arms come back overhead. Plant the right hand to the right hip. Stretch over to the right. And then switch. Find your center again. Arms come up and overhead. Lift up the right leg. Step forward. You're in your high lunge. Stay here for a moment. Feel free to drop the left knee if you need to. And then let's drop those hands back. Switch the interlacing of the fingers so the other thumb is on top. Look up towards the sky. Come back to center. Right hand goes to right hip. Left fingertips stretch over to the right. Both arms come overhead. Inhale. Exhale. Hands come down to surround the foot. Step the right foot back. Option to take a chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. You can stay in your downward facing dog for 5 breaths or drop the knees and take a child's pose for 5 breaths. Last breath here. Let's walk the hands back to the feet. Forward fold at the back of the mat. Swish a little side to side. Roll yourself all the way up. Arms come overhead. Drop the elbows. Heart open. Back to center. Stretch to the right. Switch arms and stretch to the left. This time I want you to bring your hands to your heart center. Lift up the left foot. Step forward into your crescent. And then hook your right elbow onto your left knee. Come to a crescent twist. Try to even out the hips so they're square to the mat. The twist is coming from the belly and from the mid-back, not from the hips. Imagine a line being drawn from the crown of the head all the way to the right heel. And then drop your right knee to the ground. Set your right hand down. You can stay here in a twist with your left fingertips reaching up, or feel free to grab onto your right toes. Release that foot if you have it. Frame up your left foot. Step the left toes back. Option chaturanga. When you're in your up dog, if you're taking it, make sure your core is engaged here so the belly isn't spilling out forward. You can feel a little counterintuitive in that pose because we are inhaling, but it makes a really big difference. Couple inhales and exhales in this downward facing dog. And then walk the hands back. Swivel side to side. Really drop the head here. Roll yourself all the way up. Arms come up and overhead. Exhale, cactus arms. Look up. Inhale, back to center. Stretch over to the right. Exhale. Switch the arms over to the left. Back to center. Hands come to the heart. Lift up the right toes. Fall forward into your crescent. Inhale and exhale here. And then bring that left elbow over to the right. Twist. Try to square off the hips. Let's drop that left knee to the ground. Set the left hand down. Reach the right fingertips up or reach back to grab your left toes. If you still want the quad stretch but you can't reach or it hurts too much, just slightly lifting your left toes off the mat can still get you a good stretch. Set those left toes down. Swim the right arm over. Frame up the right foot. Step back to your plank. Lower down halfway or all the way to the belly. Inhale, core engages. Look up for your cobra or up dog. Exhale, use the abdominals and the hips to press you back into down dog. Inhale. Exhale. I like waggling out my hips a little in these in-between down dogs. Beautiful. Let's inhale the right toes up to the sky. Bend into the knee. Just stack those hips. Get a nice opening in the right side body in front of the right hip. Try to square the shoulders to the mat. And then square those hips back off to the mat. Bring your knee through. Set your right foot down. And then walk your right foot to the outside of your left hand. Fall over so all of your toes are pointing towards the long side of your mat. And reach the left fingertips overhead. And you can wing out your right knee. Let's set the hips down. And then come back up. Lift the hips, stretch the arm. Sit back down, arm goes towards the back of your root. Come back up. Come back down. Turn to face towards your knee again. Set the knee down for a pigeon pose. We're just going to stay here for a couple of breaths. We'll hit a longer pigeon later in class. Inhale. Exhale. Walk the hands up. Fingertips touch to the outside of the mat. Heart opener. Small back bend, look up towards the sky. And then set the hands down in front of you. Tuck the left toes. And step back to plank, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Lift up the left toes, bend into the knee, stack your hip. Find an opening in that hip, square the shoulders to the mat. Beautiful. And then bring your foot through. Set it to the outside of your right hand. Come to the inside of your right foot. Stretch your left hand overhead. Wing out your left knee. And then let's take those back and forth. Come down, inhale, exhale, hips lift. One more. And come to face the front. Find your pigeon on the other side. You can come all the way down or stay up on the hands. 2 breaths. And then let's walk those fingertips back. Take a little heart opener. Come back down, hands plant. Tuck the right toes. Step the left foot back. Plank. Lower down. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. 3 inhales and exhales. You can feel free to move here. Inhale the right toes up to the sky, bend in the knees, stack the hips, square the shoulders. Feel free to take this into a flip dog if you like. Drop those right toes behind you, straighten the left leg. Reach the right fingertips towards the front left corner of the room. And then flip back, 3-legged dog. Bring your right foot through, step it between the hands. You can take your blocks here if you want. Step your left foot up about halfway to the mat and set the heel down, taking a pyramid pose stretch. If you don't have blocks, you can keep your hands onto the shins. And option here, if you want to have a straight spine, you can do that like I am. You can also curve down to get a little closer to the leg. But whatever you're doing, try to have your hips square to the front of your space. Couple more breaths here. Option here, if you want to take a twist for revolved pyramid, reach the right fingertips up towards the sky. And then bring the hand back down. Step your left foot back again. Toes are on the ground. Bend into the right knee. Bring your hands to heart center. And just hook that left elbow again to the outside of the right knee for your twist. Come back to center, arms go overhead. And plant those hands back down. Step the right foot back, plank, optional chaturanga. Up dog or cobra. And downward dog. Lift up the left toes, bend into the knee, stack the hip. Take this into your flip dog if you like. Step those left toes behind you. Beautiful. And when you're ready, bring that leg back to your three-legged dog. Step your left foot through, place it between the hands, grab your blocks. Bring your right foot up halfway up the mat, set the heel down. Take your pyramid pose. Got a few breaths here. Square the hips and breathe into the hamstring. And feel free to take this into your revolved pyramid. Place the right hand on the inside of the left foot and twist open with the left arm. Bring the left hand back down. Step your right foot back. Come up to your crescent, hands to heart center. Inhale. And exhale, hook the right elbow to the outside of the left knee. Come back to your crescent, arms overhead. Move your props out of the way. Frame up the left foot. Step the left toes back, chaturanga. Meet in downward facing dog. And then let's drop the knees wide onto the mat. Take a child's pose. Got just one more flow to go. So just take this as a quick break. Last breath, inhale. Exhale. Lift up the hips. You're back in a tabletop position. Take a couple of cat-cows here. Inhale, look forward, drop the belly. Exhale, arch like a cat. One more. Come back to your center. Tuck the toes, press back to downward dog. Let's take what we did at the beginning. So walk those hands to the back of the mat for a forward fold and swivel back and forth. Roll yourself all the way up. Inhale the arms up and overhead, and then exhale, open them into your cactus shape. Open up the heart, look up. Arms come back overhead. Drop the right hand to the right hip. Stretch over to the right with the left fingertips. And switch. Come back to your center. Arms come up and overhead. And then bring them down, tracing down the face. Heart center. Lift up the left knee. Drop yourself forward into your crescent pose. Hook that right elbow to the outside of the left foot, the left knee. Drop the right knee. Set the right hand down. Lift the left arm up to the sky. Feel free to take a reach back for those right toes. And then drop the right toes. Reach the left fingertips forward. Tuck the right toes. Taking a twist with a reach forward. Notice maybe where this changes because of the arm position. Where do you feel it? And then swim that arm down to frame the foot. Step the left foot back. Come down, chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog. Downward dog. Inhale. Exhale. Walk yourself back. Swim back and forth. Roll yourself all the way up. Arms come up. Exhale, cactus shape. Open the heart, look up. Press the hips forward. Inhale, arms come overhead. Exhale, drop the right hand to the right hip and stretch over to the right. Switch. Come back to center. Inhale, arms overhead, and then trace them down the face, heart center. Inhale. Exhale. Lift up the right toes. Step yourself forward into that crescent. Inhale. Exhale. And then hook your left elbow to the outside of your right knee. Twist. Let's drop the left knee. Set the left hand down. Reach the right arm up to the sky or back to reach those toes. And then set the foot down. Tuck the left toes, straighten the leg, reach the right arm towards the front of your space. So we're twisting the chest to face towards the right leg, reaching the fingertips towards the front space. Bring the hands back down. Step the right foot back, your last chaturanga today. Meet in your down dog. Let's lift up the right toes. Straighten them behind you. And on your next exhale, bend into the knee. Set the knee down behind the right hand. Come to your pigeon pose. We're going to stay here for about 10 breaths, so find a comfy position. And begin to come out of this. Walk the hands back. Press the fingertips to the outside of the mat. Take another little back bend here. Look up. Come back to center. Set the hands down. Tuck left toes. Right foot steps back. Downward dog. Wiggle the hips. Lift up the left toes. Point them behind you. On your next exhale, bring the knee in. Set it down for your pigeon pose on the left side. Find whatever level feels good for you on the side. Maybe it's different, and that's okay. Notice if any other parts of the body are tensing up right now. That might be a sign that you've gone a little bit too far in the pose. And let's walk the hands up. Take your little back bend. And set the hands down in front of you. Tuck the right toes and just straighten out the left leg behind you and set yourself down onto your belly. Let's set the forearms down for a Sphinx pose. So your elbows can be right under the shoulders, or if that's crunching on the back, just walk the hands a bit forward. Wherever you're at, engage the abdominals. Press the pubic bone into the floor. Try to get all 10 toes to touch the ground. So your legs are really engaged here. You're looking straight forward. Or if that does feel like it's crunching the neck, you can look maybe 6 inches or a foot in front of the hands. Press the hands into the floor and drag your body forward energetically. So the body is not moving. It's just a nice heart opener. And set yourself down. Try to reach your left fingertips out like a T. Hand next to your right shoulder. Roll yourself open. And you can lay your head on a pillow or something if it feels your neck, or even a rock. Pick up the right toes and place them behind you. Set the foot down behind the left leg. So this should be a really nice of the left shoulder. Beautiful. Couple more breaths here. And let's roll back to center. Take it on the other side. So extend that right arm out to the right. And press yourself open. Set the left toes behind the right leg. And roll yourself back onto the belly. Take one more moment of Sphinx pose here. And from here, lift up your hips, Walk the knees a little bit forward. And slide the right arm underneath you, like we did in the beginning. This time I want you to set your hips down and twist yourself open. So we're just getting into a reclined twist here. You can have your arms open into a T shape, or you can have them in cactus shape. Really deep inhales and exhales. And sweep those left fingertips over your head. Set the left hand down in front of the face. Pick yourself up. And just shift your hips back to a tabletop position. Come down onto the right forearm. Reach the left hand underneath the right. Set your shoulders down. Set your hips down. Open to your reclined twist on the other side. Inhales and exhales. And sweep those right fingertips over into the position. Center yourself on your mat. And then just roll onto your back. Open up the legs, touch the feet together. So you're in a Supta Baddha Konasana. An option here to also take this into a fish pose. If you want to do that, you can sit the butt onto the hands, and your legs can be straight or remain in Supta Baddha Konasana. Tuck the shoulders underneath you, open the heart, and touch the top of the head to mat. Really suck in the belly, stimulating the digestive system. And again, if you want to open your legs into Supta here, you can. One last heart opener before we go into Shavasana. And set yourself all the way down. An option here to take your Supta Baddha Konasana as your Shavasana. So just legs are open here, or just extend them out. Take a second to tuck each shoulder underneath you. And really drop in here. Take a lot of deep inhales and exhales. And perhaps come back to your intention. Just gonna skip to the last song on the playlist here. Hopefully you guys are already there. So come back to that intention from the beginning of class. How is it that you want to feel physically, emotionally, spiritually today and after class? Relax the body into the mat. And just take a few moments of meditation on this. Take your last few breaths in this position and perhaps bring a little bit of movement into the fingers and toes. As you're ready, you can very gently and mindfully press yourself up into a meditation position. I like to have my legs crossed and set the hands down onto the legs, facing up with a symbol of surrender and facing down the symbol of grounding. Close down the eyes. Find your straight spine. Relax whatever muscles aren't needed at this moment. Maybe check in with how your body feels. We began class in this position, and I usually find that by the end of class, when I check in with my body, it feels quite different and a lot easier to sit. Continue those deep inhales and exhales. Come back to your word or phrase of how you want to feel physically, emotionally, and spiritually today. And on your breath, repeat the word or phrase. And as you repeat this word or phrase, notice how your body feels. How does it feel to experience whatever your intention is? Imagining that you already are experiencing that. And bring your right hand to your chest and your left hand over the right. Take an inhale, feel the chest lift. Take an exhale. One more like that. Inhale. Exhale. And turn those hands in to face each other for prayer. Anjali Mudra. And then bring the hands to the third eye. Take a bow forward. Thank you so much for your practice today, and great job getting to your mat.